Greetings and welcome to this very special edition of the Career Cafe. I am here with Downingtown East alums, a guy who's having a homecoming here, AJ Goepfert. AJ, welcome.
Dr. Pradell, it's such a pleasure to be here and thank you for having me.
So AJ, tell us about what it is that you do because I think it is so cool.
Yeah, so I have a pretty interesting career path, and what I'm doing right now is I'm working in the travel management sector, working in the broader tourism and hospitality field, working in the sales realm. Recently, I accepted a promotion to our manager of business development, which is just a fancy title for someone that works in sales, right? At the end of the day, I am working to promote our business. I'm working at World Travel Incorporated. We are over on the Eagle View Boulevard business complex, and we're right down the road, and we are servicing over 600 clients in the travel management space.
Wow. So you're in sales, and you and I come from that have that in common.
Mm-hmm.
It's my background before I got into education. What do you love about sales?
Sales is just one of those fields that once you're in it, it feels like you can never leave, because it's something that it's a foundational piece to a lot of what you can do in life. What I love about sales is that no 2 days are the same. I can have a day where I'm really hectic and things are going great, or I can have a really, maybe mundane day, but it's still, I'm learning all the time. And that's the other part I love, is that I'm constantly learning and I'm constantly never doing the same thing twice.
So there's a lot of opportunity for relationship building and conversations and figuring out what people's needs are and meeting them. It's very satisfying. I'm curious how you get from here in Downingtown to there. So, like down the street by way of the university, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
Let's talk first about your time at Downingtown East, and then we'll pivot to your college years, and then how you got to where you are now.
Absolutely. So at Downingtown East, I was a member of the class of 2014. So I got started in 2010. Didn't really know what my interests were per se. I always had a broad interest in a lot of things, but not one particular subject where I was like, okay, this is my career, this is what I'm going to do, and this is my path forward. It was always for me I'm not entirely sure, and I think I feel like I can relate to a lot of students in that way, and a lot of students think they want to know what they do, but then tomorrow they wake up and that's not going to be it.
Well, and it's part of the healthy pivoting of identity in the teenage year.
Absolutely, and it certainly goes on into the early adulthood, and it's a lot of people you'll meet down the road, and they do something for 20 years and they suddenly change directions, and to be able to identify when it's appropriate to do that is very valuable. But when I was here at Downingtown, I was involved in the marching band. I did pit orchestra for the theater and put on some of the springtime musicals. I was involved in some other organizations that really got me to think about outside of the broader scope of just this is my career and I must do it, but to really dive into finding hobbies outside of those strict day-to-days. So that was a lot of my foundational shaping, and the pieces that eventually led me into my college years.
And so you accept an offer to go to Temple University, and you and I have that in common as well, both proud owls, though I had more advanced years than you. And I'm curious about what your time was like on North Broad Street and what you have really taken with you.
Yeah, so my time at Temple was something that I'll never forget, and it really does set the foundation for the rest of my life. I've only been out of school for about 2 years at this point. I was member of the 2018 class. I went to Temple undecided, actually, which was, I think, one of the best moves I could have made, because I had a few ideas, didn't know which one was going to fit best at the time. And by the end of the freshman year, I walked out as a member, or walked into that summer as a member of the School of Tourism and Hospitality Management, which is kind of ironic because I got my start while I was in high school working in the service industry, working in restaurants, working actually down the street at the Red Robin. Started as a busser, and I never thought that this would turn into a career, but what I thought at that time was restaurant management will never be my career, but in the broader sense, the service industry still is.
Well, we're all to some extent in the service industry. You're never going to have a job where you're not working to please someone else in some way, shape, or form. Especially when you're quote unquote your own boss. What it really means is that you've got however many bosses in the form of clients
right.
in sales. So, I've always encouraged students to give that a shot as their first entree into the working world. And I think everybody should have that experience. I'm really glad that you were willing to have that in and then see the value in it. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I couldn't wholeheartedly agree with you more about everyone should have that experience, whether you get that early on, first job, maybe in high school or early college, or when you're out of school and you're looking for that first avenue. It could be a really good opportunity as a stopgap almost, but you're working on what we call transferable skills.
Right.
Those service industry transferable skills really can do you a lot of value no matter what your career path is.
Amen to that. So you're in the School of Tourism and Hospitality Management. You work your way through Temple and graduate, and what happens?
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to do a couple different internships while I was at school, and those kind of set the stage for where I'm at now. And one of them was working in a different part of the hospitality sector, working on the hotel side. And then I also had an opportunity to be a part of the opening team for the Cambria Philadelphia downtown.
Oh, wow.
And in that sense, I was part of the operational team, which again sets the foundation for where I'm at today. But it's all about that exposure. So, through those internships, through opening a hotel, through being part of management teams, it led me to realize that I want to continually learn, and I need to find an opportunity for myself that'll allow that, and sales happens to be that. So after school, came back home, spent the summer working in the service industry until I found a more permanent position working as a sales coordinator at World Travel, where I'm at currently.
And you've been promoted since to management of business development, which is fantastic. Mazel tov. I'm curious. I know no day is alike, and that's something that you and I have in common in terms of our love for the life of sales. But are there things that are common across lots of days that you find particularly enjoyable?
You know what? There are a couple of things. I find that I really love conversations with people, whether that's with a prospective client that I might be having a conversation with via email, via phone, maybe it's person to person or face to face, whether that's working with the people at our organization and day to day, and working with different departments to see how we can get things done, or if I'm working with our team of outside sales managers who are on the road and living the nomad life, as we like to call it in sales, who may need assistance with things that they just can't get to. So just those day-to-day conversations, they're never the same, but in that same sense, I love having those conversations. That people-to-people service industry's perspective is where I started from, and I'm able to provide that.
What sounds really cool about that is that your workplace in World Travel has a very collaborative approach to problem solving, and it's a team-oriented sell. So, oftentimes people operate under this misconception that sales is a very individualistic career. But when you've got a good team of folks and a good culture of folks that support each other, it's really not.
Yeah, absolutely. Sales is never a one-man band. It is a collective orchestra. You really do have to work with the folks that, if you're in the service industry like myself and the intangible experiences that you're selling, you really do have to work with the people that are providing that service and make sure that what you're selling is realistic. As we look at across all industries, the technology aspect, you always have to ensure that the developers, that the folks that are managing those systems, that they're able to cope with either A, what they tell you to sell, or B, what you think might be a great idea, because what might be a good thought, realistically, may be a disaster when it's executed.
Right. The devil's in the details.
Right, absolutely.
So what advice do you have, AJ, for the folks that are watching, students that are thinking about a career in tourism, hospitality management, thinking about a career in sales? What should they be doing now to begin to dip their toe in that water and explore? So
there's several things. I would first be open to any possibilities, and continually be open to those opportunities that may come up that you may not think are the appropriate fit. You may find that you get yourself into that situation and realize that that might provide an opportunity for you that you never thought of for yourself.
Be a yes person.
Be a yes person, more like don't be a no person. You don't always have to say yes, but you can at least explore it, and if it's not right, don't be afraid to walk away. It's okay to job hop, if you will, to look at different opportunities that may provide something that you didn't think was there.
Well, and it's interesting that you use that term job hopping. It's interesting that you use that term job hopping because we are in the gig economy, right? And folks of our generation-ish don't ever do just one thing, right? We're always, everybody's got a side hustle or something, and everybody's kind of defining themselves differently. It's very prescient advice, so folks watching at home, heed it.
Right.
On that topic of advice, I'm going to get you out of here on this question.
Sure.
Okay? And I ask it of all of my guests here at the Career Cafe. You've got 17-year-old AJ Goepfert by the shoulders. He's a senior at Downingtown East, super cougared out, ready to graduate. What do you tell him?
For me, it's kind of a personal one because I can remember having a moment back in my senior year of high school where I literally was like, I'm going to look back at this moment in 5, 6, 7 years and be like, I'm such a cahoots for thinking these things. There's a lot of pressure, and the students, if you're an older adult parenting today's students, you almost can't relate because the amount of pressure to choose between getting your career started, college, what may be right for you, that next step, that next chapter you're defining, not knowing and what impacts it may have 30, 40, 50 years down the line it ultimately comes back to that moment I would, shake myself sitting in the passenger seat in my car, looking over at me in the driver's seat, saying, just be patient. Understand that every decision you make may lead to something better, whether or not that's a good decision right now or not. It's really all about having the patience and then realizing that it's going to be okay. So.
Again, prescient advice, and thank you for it, AJ. And I will do my best to heed it in my own life. It's important to know. Oftentimes, when we're making decisions, we can focus on that opportunity cost and the doors that are closing. But any door that we end up actually choosing and walking through not only provides resolution to that prior decision, but it provides us with new options. And that word of patience is super important.
Yeah.
AJ, I want to thank you so much for being here. AJ Goepfert, ladies and gentlemen. That'll about do it for this very special edition of the Career Cafe. And have a wonderful rest of your day.